Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Thursday, January 30th, 2020. If you're watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku Showboat to leave a follow to be notified when I go live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can do all the social stuff through the links below the video, including supporting Pyadon at patreon.com/Pyadon and myself at patreon.com/Otaku Showboat. So, we're getting green science today. Let's go straight into the game. Let's play. It's Green Science Day. Huzzah! I've done a little bit off screen. There have been various updates. I'm on version 18.2 now, and everything is working. Version 18.2 required a few updates to various mods, including the Pi suite itself, thanks to changes to sound files in particular. So Factorio devs decided to change/add several new sounds into the game with version 18.2, and yeah, that broke some things. Broke some things with mods that had to be rectified. Apparently, not many people like all of the new sounds either, so that's a wonderful thing. Whenever that happens. Speaking of, what did you do? I know you're here, Pyanodon. What did you do? What did you do? What did you do this time? What is this pH update? What is this pH update? Hold up. I'm going to the I'm going to the GitHub. It was all King Arthur. Okay. Alright. Sure, what's the what's this pH commit here? This removing of vanilla oil, unneeded log statements, and bleh. Quote unquote bleh. Removed vanilla oil processing recipes and entities, including the oil refinery. But wouldn't that have required moving the wouldn't that require moving the one what am I trying to say? There is an organic solvent recipe that used the vanilla oil refinery. So if you forgot to change that, we can no longer do that particular recipe. Yeah, so just saying, there was a recipe there. A really good recipe, I might add. That was my preferred recipe for. I'll do this update, by the way. That was my preferred organic solvent recipe. Just FYI. Organic solvent out of, what was it again? Acetone and something else, I forget. Syngas, I think. Acetone plus syngas into organic solvent. That recipe. That used the vanilla refinery. So if it's just gone now, well, beautiful. Yeah, it's one recipe for organic solvent that would be affected by removing the vanilla oil stuff. The other thing would be, how does this translate into an existing save game? Did you update the migration file stuff as well to do recipe resets and all that? That'd be the other thing to make note of. Let's load the game and see what happens. I'm anticipating it'll pop up with a thing that says removed stuff. Nope. Nothing removed. At least no window pop-up saying stuff has been removed. Partly because I haven't really unlocked stuff yet. Like, I haven't unlocked vanilla So yeah, the vanilla oil refining recipe does appear to be gone, which is intended for the tech, I think. Alright, so that's fine. And that means lubricant. Oh boy. That's what that means. Yeah. Hey, and you fixed advanced oil processing now. Changed it. Yes, now that is a bus. That is a bus. We'll get to the bus. I'm just checking out all of this. So, yeah, lubricant is now once again no longer blocked by a blue science at advanced oil processing. Um there is no more basic oil processing, I'll also add. Uh because the solid fuel things are still here in advanced. Like, okay, that's fine. So organic solvent. Actually, what is it really used for? It doesn't show the actual ID. Yeah. So this crafted in is now gone. This was the vanilla recipe for this organic solvent recipe. What is this ID though? I'm about to bring that up, planned on. I have to do that through Hellmod. Organic. Is it even gonna? This one. This one is organic dash solvent 2 on the recipe name. Organic dash solvent 2. Oddly enough, Hellmod still shows that it's made in the oil refinery, even though the oil refinery doesn't exist. So yeah, that's the recipe. It just needs a different building now. As for which building, I really don't know. Watch it be the light oil refinery, because let's have another reason to use the light oil refinery. It truly doesn't have enough things. All right, it's fixed now, apparently. Which building did you choose, Pinedon? That's a good question. Did you do the vanilla chem plant, or did you do one of your refinery buildings, the actual refinery buildings? Chem plant. All right. That was the other obvious option. So yeah. Now that is a bus. Uh, so I've expanded the bus a little bit, and I've brought it out more. In particular, when we ended off last time, also, yay, new alien life update. Thank you, King Arthur. New alien life update. What's changed this time? Does it have changes for latex? Would that have changes for latex? Because that would be great to add, like, now. That would be great to have, like, now. I'm gonna resave this, and let's get some updating going, because things be updating. And apparently my thing be downloading very slowly. Wonderful. Yeah, thanks so much for OneDrive being incredibly slow. This might take some time for that update, but high tech is apparently now updating. Yes, it's High tech recipe releasing update. We'll see if it's live at this point as I continue to download the Alien Life, the newest version of Alien Life that has been posted. Yeah, it may take a minute to show in the Marred portal. Usually does. It usually does. So what's in this Alien Life update, Python? Yeah, OneDrive is being slow today. That's OneDrive being OneDrive. It's either fast or it's slow, and today it's slow. Some stuff he's been adding, plus some suggestions I made, okay? Such as? High tech has changed, yes. Such as fish. Okay, and formic acid. Good. That's what I want, actually. That makes me want to wait for this to finish, but in the meanwhile, I will talk about the things that I have updated on the bus while that download happens, and then once it finishes, I'll update it. Fix the mark levels, yeah. So, hi everyone. I am testing PyAlien Live, and occasionally I find things that need to be fixed, and this is an update that is stuff that needed to be fixed. So the alien life that's added in here, the animals and the plants, they basically act as modules now. There's a set of the animals that are Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, and they all act as modules. The increasing mark level gives you a better speed bonus. What I found yesterday was occasionally there was like 2 or 3 instances where the mark level speed bonus wasn't scaled correctly. So that was one thing. Also, lots of suggestions regarding fish and formic acid and food. Yes, and as the machine mark levels increase, you get more module slots to add the modules of the animals into those machines, whatever mark level you want to have of them. Some animals are better than others for increasing their mark level. I have to look more at the actual numbers, but it's not the same across the board. Like, a lot of them are just flat plus 500% or plus 1,000%, but when you're talking, the normal one is like a 10,000% bonus. Adding 500 to that is not that much of a difference. How many? Well, the number of module slots differs depending on what building it is. Yes, it depends on the building. Some of the, like, most of the animal pens have a crafting speed of 0.1, and I'm thinking they have about 4 module slots. At least it's 4 for the Vrauk and 2 for the Augs, actually. So really, it just varies. The Kicalk is 7, and the Relesia is 4. But the Relesia has a base crafting speed of 0.01, I should say. The Kicalk has a base crafting speed of 0.004 with 7 module slots. So that's how things differ just depending on the type of animal and plant and all of that. So, I have a few Relesia seeds now. Relesia is like completely different. Just for reference, Relesia, the flower itself isn't used all that much anymore. Its biggest use for me is likely going to be this aromatics recipe, and then its required use in the Relesia processing line much later. Some food, but by comparison to the use of the seeds, the seeds are going to get used a lot more. Because these are actually used in the biological samples. It's used to make some Ulrich. It's used as food for manure. It's more uses than the seeds, honestly. Elysia is not really flooding my belts. I limited this, and I only have. This is just a time thing. I only have 8 of these on the Relesia right now, 0.28 per second. 0.28, making not even 1 per second on the seeds. It's once I start consuming the seeds, it will very much be a bottleneck. It is not currently flooding my belts. Even though it is right now backed up, it won't be for forever. So, when I last left off, we had, I think, pretty much gone through this stuff here, and I was in the process of just placing down the rest of the buildings for circuits. Yeah, stack size 10 on the normal flowers. So I was working on circuits, and I said that I would finish off circuits, get the circuits moving, and that's what I did. I got the circuits moving. They are currently bottlenecked by my urea output, but yeah, that will eventually change. Am I done downloading yet? I think yes. I am done downloading, but I will talk about what's been added to the bus. So this is all standard. Like, outside of what you need to do for the urea first now, everything else is identical. This is just normal circuit ones that you're used to. All of it with the slight exception that you're probably going to want to get your raw fiber out of wood, and you have to get your urea through a whole further back chain with augs and all that. Otherwise, the rest of it is just the same. So I have a building giving me some amount of circuits. Yay. This stuff. Oh boy. So this stuff will be green science. This is green science. I said that I would not turn on green science, but I would build it, and that is exactly what I have done. So I've got a little bit of bone meal now. That'll be the first thing, I guess, to talk about. So augs. I am doing the recipe for augs that require aug food. Aug food means mushrooms, moss, seaweed, tin, and steam. Mushrooms. That was loud. Hi. Hi, mushrooms. So, really, tin is, like, what's used for the container, I guess. It's like the container that the food is in, even though it's totally in a bag. It's totally in a bag. It's not a can. It's a bag, not a can. But anyway, it's a tin-lined bag. It's a tin-lined bag. That's what we'll say. Or it's a bag made out of tin. So this required setting up some mushrooms. Really, it's not all that different from before. If you're just doing the water recipe, it's water plus spores. And one spore machine on just the water spore recipe is a 1-to-2 ratio. So I've got a few of those, you know, just casually 40 of those placed to give me the mushrooms, to give me the food. And the food is really nice. Why is the food really nice? At Red Science. Food is nice at Red Science because otherwise I would have to spend biomass instead of food to get these caged augs. Biomass at Red Science is phytoplankton. Phytoplankton is iron ore. So by switching to food, this saves me 10 seconds of craft time, and it saves me on the iron ore. However, at Green Science, you get access to biomass from logs, which is significantly cheaper than spending iron ore. And at a 10-second crafting time difference, 160 seconds versus 150 seconds, it may actually be a much better idea to switch away from using food and back to biomass once you set up your logs to biomass. which is why I have suggested to Pyedon to make the food recipes have a higher percentage chance outcome on the products. I suggested that basic food be an 85% result, the advanced foods be a 90% result, and then there is a separate thing that is adding an antiviral much later that'll give you a guaranteed result from that. So that was my suggestion, because just here at the basic food, 160 seconds versus 150 seconds, that's like, what, a 6 point some odd percent difference? Let's just add another blanket 5% on that by giving us an 85% chance of an output versus an 80. That would help to differentiate between the two, which is why I suggested it. Granted, that involves a lot of work. That would involve a lot of work. Yes, you need to change all of the entries for that across the board, but hey, sometimes a fundamental issue requires a lot of work to make that change. Cough, cough. So yeah, I've set up the algs, and then the augs are being slaughtered and converted into bone meal. The fear is that the update would make not as big of a difference going into the antiviral. Well, the thing is, Pyedon, I question the antiviral recipes to begin with, but because I don't really know the timing, because you've also got this completely separate mechanic. Am I using squeak through? Yes, I'm using squeak through. So you have this completely separate mechanic for using the creature chamber to grow young animals as well. And from what I've seen with that, if you throw growth hormone at those young animals, you end up with more than one animal as a result. So this 1 AUG in to 2 AUG out, and then you have to cage it. Yeah, the young root produces more, so my question is, what is the timing on growth hormones, and what is the timing on assisted embryology here? Because this gives you a guaranteed output, much like the antiviral. So I guess my question is, well, why would I do the antiviral route at that point? Right? That's my, like, current slight issue with the whole, like, antiviral thing going, and, like, some of the later game stuff is because you have these two competing systems. One where you're producing and growing young versions of animals into more than one adult animal, versus this other method that'll give you a guaranteed result but ends up being really, really, really expensive. So it's a choice that I need to, like, look into a little bit more in the end. So just going over some of these other things. So this is the bone meal from the augs. This will be the biological samples by adding bone meal, incubated petri dishes, and Relesia seeds. We've got the ground samples here as soon as the carbon dioxide, or as soon as the rich clay is moving by doing that. Also, I guess I can do, what was it? That gets that moving, which produces alien sample 1s, just adding biosamples to those two, and that will create green science. So green science is now turned on. That is now green science. Huzzah! It's green science. it's a thing. I need you to output priority left there. Thanks. Like once you've made the stuffs, once these things make their way over, this will be nice. This will be amazing. I also need some of these to make Kicalk. Are there fertility drugs? There are pheromones. Not really fertility drugs. There are pheromones, there's growth hormone to make the process faster. But pheromones are created from a very specific creature. So you need actually a separate creature to make the pheromones. And yeah, because these are made out of gas bladders. Along with a whole bunch of other stuff. So you need this cridron, and you need gas bladders. Gas bladders come from these nice little antelope with gigantic brains. Gigantic head sacs. So you need to actually make these to get pheromones, and then those will be used. Ha! Rastafari giraffes. Okay, so they're giraffes with big heads. So yeah, green science. Green science. It's moving. I need to actually start a tech for green science, and I will start with, of course, a desulfurization. That will be very nice because we are going to go this route from desulfurization, coal processing to basic electronics, and that will give access to Logibots. I guess I also need to work towards lubricant now because that actually completely changes my plans. The changes to the vanilla ore stuff, the removal of the vanilla ore refining, the changing of advanced oil processing back to not blue science, but to green science, giving access to that vanilla lubricant recipe from heavy oil to lube, because I can totally now steam crack crude oil into heavy oil and process that heavy oil into lubricant. I did this on the off the rails playthrough. But the on the rails playthrough, I had to do desulfurization of aromatics into lubricant, which is also an option, and it gives you sulfur. But I have more crude, I think. I definitely have access to both lube and crude. Huh, I think science has stopped. Do you realize how much distance there is? I have to wait for the green science to go from here all the way to here. Like I have to, like, this line has to be drawn, and it only moves at 15 per second. So I have to wait for that to actually move all the way across. So yeah, that's what I had set up off screen. It's just the mushrooms here, and then the stuff for the green science. I also have set up, outside of the green science, my planning on Kicalk. So the Kicalk is actually ready to go. I just need to, you know, throw the alien samples at it. And for reference, King Arthur is now on the record stating that the release of Pi Alien Life is waiting on the fixing of big bugs that they are working on, and that the goal was to have them done for next week. First week of February was the goal. So that is on the record now, King Arthur, to be ready by in the first week of February. Which, you know, next week. That is the timing. That is the timing. I actually someone commented on my VOD day 1 yesterday asking if it would be ready by like released on Feb 1, and I was like, no, they said the first week of February, so I don't think the first is going to be quite viable. The first being on Saturday, and King Arthur saying that they're going to be really going at it over the weekend and should be ready for Sunday. And then whenever Python at that point gets that updated code and wants to release it, will be the time that it's released. So remember that Python's the one that actually releases the code and the mod to people. This is just King Arthur being finished with these big updates that are currently holding back the release of Alien Life. So once all that's fixed, then it's up to Python on when to actually release it. Yeah, whoa. Whoa is right. It's coming. It's coming! So, a few other things, outside of just the end of this and having built out all of these lines on the bus as well. I did a bit of scaling, a little bit of other scaling of existing things. I now have a lot more sap, a little bit more sap. I have 60 of these things. It's like a little under 4 per second-ish. I've also got like 16 DDCs making formic acid. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that update and see what happens with the formic acid. So just for reference, right now, formic acid. You need 400 per latex slab currently. I suggested cutting this down to 100. So we shall see once I do the update. Once I have not done the update yet. We shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. Also, over here, I've got nickel, grade 1 nickel processing, and hot air processing, and I have zinc hot air processing. All I need to do is just add that, and add that, and they will move. And we will go over and do that right after I throw these updated files at the game. So I will go into that folder. I'll take both of these and extract them. This will take about like a minute or two. Toss that in there. Fortunately, my computer is, semi-good. So this shouldn't take too awfully long. Copying over 1.7 gigs of graphics files again. Thank you for the follow, Bubbly Book. Hello, Immortal. I am just updating Alien Life with the most recent update. Alien Life and the graphics. What did you miss? Not too much. I've just been talking about things. I've turned on green science. That's all you've really missed. I've just turned on green science at this point, and I'm just doing an update to Alien Life because something very important has been updated. And that is that it will now be a little bit marginally easier to get latex/rubber, which has been the biggest bottleneck of the early game in Alien Life. And it's a massive. YouTube versions must be behind. Yes, it is behind. You have to, if you want to get fully caught up, you have to watch the VOD on Twitch to finish getting caught up in time for the next stream. That's just a scheduling thing. I would have to release basically all 5 videos of the Thursday stream yesterday on Friday in order to actually give enough time to catch up, but then what do I have over the weekend to post?